Step into the spectrum where the quiet learn to speak. Where cowards lose their cover and the bold become unique. Black pages birth the light. Every pigment takes its role. If you came here once unseen, this art will make you whole. Welcome to the canvas where excuses come to die. Where ink comes down to timid and colors testify. No shelter in the palette, broken edges forge you whole. This is conversations in color and I am unfold the soul. Yeah. And I am unfold the soul.
Welcome to Conversations in Color with Unfold the Soul. My name is Ken Williams. I'm your host, and I am an artish. That is an artish because I don't know much shit about art, but I make a lot of it. I use black Bristol paper and Posca markers. On the wall back here is a smattering of my hand-drawn art, and every one of these episodes works the same way. The art is the star, and the wall makes the call to see what the conversation is going to be for this week. If you are here for the first time, welcome to the show. And if you've returned, I'm grateful that the content has served you thus far. I'm terrible at marketing, so if it serves you, share it with someone. I know it's different because ain't nobody talking this shit out here. So I know that much. Let's go to the wall, man, see what the conversation is for this week. This week's piece, it's one of my early ones. The junkyard dogs of transportation recognize what these junkyard dogs do because you need therapy when 3 kids make noise while you drive. I'm going to tell you up front and personal, I could not be a bus driver. Transportation, I got so much respect for transportation. Here it is in shirt form. I couldn't be a bus driver because their standards are too high. Their standards are too high. Our transportation folks get a kabillion kids to and from school safely every day. Every day. If I went in the interview, I'd be shooting for like 98% because I've been on buses sometimes. I also know who I've put on buses from my school sometimes, and I would need 2% to play with, just a couple of twos and fews sometimes. There are a couple of kids that don't need to get home, but the standards are too high. I love my transportation people, and I want to use them to make a point this week. Can you imagine? I talk a lot about leadership and the role confusion in education leaders, but we have leadership represented in other stakeholder groups in our profession. Transportation is one of them. So I want you to know before I jump in deep, when I talk about leadership, it's not a character study. It's not character assassination. I know wonderful people in leadership positions, but you're part of the system that is embroiled in role confusion. Also know some awesome people who they're all about everything but except what they're supposed to be about. And, that's why I'm here with this assignment, but it's not personal. See, leadership is leadership. It's clear. It's divine. It's a natural law. Leadership was given to us, and it does not change. The fundamentals, the principles don't change. So again, I want you to imagine the transportation supervisor getting all the bus drivers together and telling them shit like, you got to remember where our kids are from, in lieu of Every bus driver delivering their best driving their best driving that day. In lieu of that, instead of just that being the focus and making bus drivers better at driving buses, at keeping kids safer, all those things. Imagine if bus drivers heard things like, remember where our kids are from. They've been through a lot of trauma. Our kids have been through a lot. Imagine if bus drivers had to pay attention to which kids are living in poverty and which races. Can you imagine bus drivers being told to change their standard? In the service of meeting kids where they are, which is a euphemism in education. So you don't out and out ask teachers to calibrate their instruction and teach differently. You use euphemisms. Like remember that one's from. You see white trash Trevor in them? Remember where they're from. And all you've done is scared a teacher off her strongest instruction, told them not to. You frame it as protecting kids. You, in essence, protecting kids from a teacher's strongest instruction. Like you're doing the opposite of your job. But there's leadership. There's definitely leadership in transportation. Because they transport all the kids with all your labels. And they do it safely. Because there's a standard. There's a standard that doesn't change whether you classy or ashy. Because the standard has nothing to do with a kid's background. The standard has everything to do with the professionals driving our buses and doing everything inside transportation. They have standards. And they are about driver expertise. And none of that expertise takes a back seat depending on the side of town you're driving on. They're not instructed to have kids. Some kids, you don't know what they've been through that morning. Motherfucker, if you in here interfering with the safety of this bus, our transportation team is asked to maintain a standard. Because their work is about their expertise, not about perceived ailments or circumstances or shit outside their control. How much time do you think bus drivers, the transportation department spends talking about shit outside their control? And that's what I'm saying to you. It's not that your principals are bad people. Your assistant principals, your superintendents, your district folks, they're not bad people. I know great people. I'm just identifying what is leadership and what isn't leadership. It's just that simple. And no leader would ever turn to a room full of experts they're leading in a learning institution and explore the circumstances of the client. No leader would do that. Almost every leader's doing it here, but that's the kind of Stepford Wives, like Snoke. It's amazing how we get shit going like that. But I get it, because we building all sorts of inspirational stories around kids, around the fucking client, when all your inspirational stories are in your building already. But you never look for inspirational stories there. You don't have special handshakes for your people. You have it for the stakeholder group you have no control over. Transportation supervisors are leaders because they're about the people they hire. They hire the drivers and everybody else in the transportation department. So they want to build a locker room of great and skilled drivers. So they turn their attention to drivers. Shouldn't we be asking the transportation drivers why they don't have a empty mess a department? And when something goes left with a driver, the driver gets better. We don't do an operation on the client. But our bus drivers are experts. And it's not a better than or a ranking at all, but bus drivers are experts. They conduct themselves that way. And here you don't get close to your teachers being experts, content experts. So I want to take a second to shout them out, to emphasize that leadership is not about a character study. Leadership is simply this. There's something that you've been hired to accomplish, and you can't do it alone. And so to build a school with a wonderful reputation based on the people inside the school, as in the teachers and leaders, then your work has to be about growing the credentials of your self-directed content experts. And then having those teachers test the impact of their strongest instruction on the students who show up. The students aren't the work. Teacher expertise is the work. Our transportation supervisors prepare our bus drivers to be their excellent selves no matter who shows up, no matter what neighborhood they're in. There's not a south side way to drive versus a north side way to drive. And so I'm grateful for that presence of leadership, and hopefully we can learn from it and be informed by it. There's a natural order to things. And I don't care how cute kids are. I'm not asking us not to care about kids. I'm saying if we are a learning institution and our mission is about educating, then your work has to be about educators. Just like the transportation supervisor's work centers around the people they hire. I want to thank you for joining me for another week of Conversations in Color with Unfold the Soul. I do this work. I facilitate professional learning experiences, and I serve schools in a way where leaders can align to how school is supposed to work. How school is supposed to work, which is it's a place known for what teachers get to do and known for their faculty, period. That's all. You can't be known for anything else. You can't be known for any students, any type of student, any smell of student. You can't be known for that. You can only be known for your faculty. That's where your work lives. Your screenplays and scripts, they live over in Deshaun and Manuel's yard. Those are scripts. You start the year knowing you already know the answers. You have no uncertainty in your life. Zero. But when you're ready to make it real, when you at the end of yourself, when you actually want your work to mean something, and you get at me, because that's one of the things I do well is I help schools align their mission with teacher expertise, not student excuses. And I'm looking for some schools that want to operate that way. Problem is, you don't have to, not because it's a choice. Cosmically, divinely, it's not a choice. And your bodies know it. That's why you're relatively miserable. Like, education sucks. You know this. There's a shortage in education. It's crazy. And work this good with a calendar that good. But work sucks right now because teachers don't matter. Teachers do not matter. If it didn't matter the percentage of kids that got home, and bus drivers had to make decisions based on poverty and background and race and culture, and can you imagine? Can you imagine a safety record? But our expert drivers do matter. Their expertise matters. They don't know how to drive ELs. They know how to drive well. And then we see the impact of that great driving every day. And if anything goes left, we make the driver better. I hope you join me next week, man. Conversations in Color with Unfold the Soul. Again, I'm your host, Ken Williams. I look forward to working with you next time. Let's make teachers matter again. Let's celebrate our transportation team, and let's make teachers matter again.